So, Think Before You Sleep has recently decided to react to Rehab Room. This is just gonna be a wild guess, just a teeny weeny guess. I suspect it has something to do with the fact that Rehab made a video talking about how Think Before You Sleep, who I'm just gonna refer to as Think for simplicity's purpose, basically folded on his values after dating just pretty things op Brittany. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I watched Think like that. He could have very well have folded on his values, maybe not. I mean, I've never really paid close attention to his content, and I've always just kind of lumped him in with the other 30-plus-year-old man children who spew out nebulous right-wing talking points. Like, if you showed me a thumbnail from a channel like World Class Bullshitters and told me it was a video by Think, I would totally believe you. Then again, Think isn't really wasting his time bragging about toys made for children at Disney World, but that's besides the point. Basically, there are a few things I disagree with in Think's video, mainly in how he sees the BP as a mostly negative thing. And I think the best way to show you this is to show you clips from his video reacting to Rehab Room.
Narratives in the modern day where people don't go outside is that there are many men whose only experience with women is this type of content. So of course, if all you see is women doing bad things and you have little to no experience with women in real life, even as co-workers or in friend groups, then you're going to think that women are mostly evil gold diggers, which demoralizes people and makes them think that there is no point in pursuing a relationship. The issue is that's not reality.
So right off the bat, Think hits us with the, oh yeah man, you've never interacted with girls before. You know nothing about them. First of all, I've been friends with girls. I hang out with girls more than you think. I've had girls attracted to me, although it was a while ago, and I fucked girls before. And I'm not saying this to brag or anything, since I'm basically a low-tier normie who gets treated like a moldy piece of bread by the vast majority of women, but at the same time, it's completely brain-dead to assume no black-pilled people go outside. From the interactions I've had with women, it pretty much aligns with everything I've seen in Rehab's videos, especially when I see what I've experienced when I was younger, in retrospect.
Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the black pill, its most essential argument is that your ability to get women is solely based on genetics. So if you were born as an unlucky, oofy-doofy, sub 5 out of 10 male, then you have no chance and your life is over.
I like how this dude learned the term oofy-doofy. I like how Rehab's catchphrase rubbed off on him.
But rather, he's looking wrong. That is the problem.
There's actually a lot this guy is doing wrong, and there's a lot of things he can do to improve his odds. For one, he can go outside instead of using dating apps. He can get a decent job, he can lose weight.
Hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
And he can gain muscle and grow a beard.
Okay, so maybe he hasn't watched enough of Rehab Room. Like, wow, I've definitely never heard those 3 exact suggestions thrown back to back before verbatim. Like, totally mind-blowing stuff. I think you should go pass go and collect your Nobel Prize, broski. Damn, suddenly I want to play Monopoly all of a sudden.
If he ends up having bad bone structure after the weight loss, the beard will compensate for that. Welcome to fashion. Enhance your good features, hide your flaws. Now, does that mean he's going to get a 10 out of 10 woman after he does that? No, but it will increase his odds of finding someone, and traditionally, unattractive people used to just date other unattractive people. Aren't you guys saying that women should lower their standards? How about you pay it forward?
Yeah, there's this thing called hypergamy. I don't think you've heard of it. Even the unattractive girls I want don't really want me.
Like, he doesn't specifically say that he's responding to me, but he is responding to arguments that came directly from this video that I made a few days prior, so I'm going to assume that this video, Get Better Hobbies, is a response to what I said in the video about Walter, the Starbucks guy.
I like how he assumes the Get Better Hobbies video is the one mainly about him. Like, it's not the video with him and his girlfriend on the thumbnail. It's this video that's about him.
But Rehab Room is about to compare 2 photography channels and the types of responses that they get from female strangers. We have 1.6 million subscriber channel Danny Damien versus Z, who has 1.6 thousand followers. Danny literally has 1,000 times his following, so I'm sure there won't be any sort of skill gap between these 2 creators. Every response they get is going to be due to the fact that Danny is a Chad Light and because Z is a sub 5 male.
I mean, I do kind of get where Think is coming from, but the skill gap that comes with Danny having more experience isn't necessarily reflected in his approaches with girls. Rather, this skill gap is reflected in the actual photo skill. If you listen carefully, both Danny and Z use pretty much the same approaches.
By the way, I don't think Z is too ugly for women to like him like Rehab does. Z looks fine based on his profile picture.
Okay, so I definitely do have to agree with Think here. I was watching this video by Rehab, and honestly, I don't even think Z is that ugly. The thing I've noticed with Rehab is that he tends to give random ratings to people to fit whatever argument he's trying to make. Like, I remember one of his old videos on abundance mindset. He was reacting to one of those PUA clowns, and he called the guy a Tyrone.
Telling he's delusional. Tell customers, oh, you gotta improve yourself and have an abundance mindset. But he conveniently forgets to mention he's a Tyrone.
Basically, the guy has a low tier normie face, right? His height and his physique could increase his status, but facially the guy is mid looking at best. But even then, I'd say that Z looking average or above average just supports Rehab's main point on JBW even more. Like, imagine some white guy with the same facial structure of Z without the accent. I'm willing to bet that if race wasn't a factor, Z would have a much better time with approaching random women.
I swear, after watching a bunch of his videos, Rehab acts like women bring out their rulers and measure a guy's facial proportions before they decide how to treat him.
And now I'm gonna have to go back to clowning on Think. I hate this whole argument of, oh bro, women don't pull out a ruler and measure men's faces, bro. Like, it's a solely hyperbolic statement designed to just completely smother the actual arguments black pillars are trying to make. Sure, no girl physically pulls out a ruler and measures your candle tilt, but it's all programmed in our brains. Like think of this example as just a man seeing a woman. Like, just imagine yourself in this scenario, right? Like, every single girl you've found attractive before, you've never had to actually measure anything at all, right? Like, if you see a woman with a certain body shape or facial features, you're not gonna pull out some fucking ruler and start measuring her. You can already tell which features you do and don't like simply by looking at her for 13 milliseconds.
The face of pure cringe. She's cringing out of her mind, man.
Why wasn't this clip first? This is a much better clip as a viewer who has seen this for the first time, because you get more time to experience Z, which will be more memorable, and Z sounds more confident in this, which enhances an earlier point that you made. Also, from an entertainment perspective,
Actually, this clip has mathematically shown to increase retention rates in your video.
Bro, just stop.
This might be a little strange, but I was wondering if you'd like some pictures. It's free.
No, we're good. Thank you.
No problem.
look at their body language. Look at how disgusted those women were. So, doesn't that paint a much different picture? The Chad like gets rejected too.
I mean, again, at first, I did think that Think had a valid criticism here. Like, I do agree that Daddy has probably gotten rejections before. I wouldn't put it past him. After all, no one's gonna have a 100% success rate, right? But even then, you don't have to actually show all those rejections. I'm willing to bet that Danny has had more acceptances in just one of his videos compared to all of Z's across all of his videos. There clearly is a discrepancy in acceptance rates between both YouTubers.
Rehab is one of those people who thinks that your life is basically over and a woman will never love you if you're under 6 foot tall, and Danny is 5'8", which is shorter than average.
What's our heights?
5'8".
I mean, I do kind of have to agree with Think here. Like I said earlier, I do think that Rehab does arbitrarily change ratings for people depending on the scenario. For instance, if he was doing a hype pill video, he would show one of Danny's few rejection clips and be like, "Brudda, it is over for menlets." But I could be wrong about this. Let me know in the comments section if you agree with me or not on this. Does Rehab change his ratings for people based on the scenario?
This is what I mean with the whole red pill, manosphere, MGTOW, black pill stuff. It's all poorly researched, which is why they frequently come to bad or the wrong conclusions. Their analyses are also often based on a single variable or factor. It's usually things suck because women are bad, and they very seldom listen to the other side's reasoning for why they behave like they do. It's a major reason why I distanced myself from those communities.
No, the reason why you distance yourself from these communities is because you got into a relationship. And I mean, I can't really blame Think for that either. At the end of the day, he can see whatever stupid shit he wants, but at least he has a relationship to fall back on. Like, if I ever get a girlfriend, I pray to God that I at least somewhat retain the principles I've learned from the black pill. I think that my inevitable fate is to just become beta bucks at this point, but at least having the self-awareness to know that it isn't true love is what separates you from all those oofy doofies on Reddit posting on r/dead bedrooms. I already did miss out on relationships as a teenager, and I will probably miss out on dating in my early 20s too. More likely than not, I am going to end up being a beta bucks, and it is what it is. Oh fuck, dude. Even saying that is so bleak. Like, I always knew it, but just saying it, oh goddamn, man, that's sad.
In the black pill's case, this is particularly offensive because their entire moral argument is telling people to give up because they weren't born with the right genetics.
Wait, what the fuck? Is that Microsoft background? Wait, are all the backgrounds he used just Microsoft Windows backgrounds? Bro, at least use gameplay footage or something. Like, I hate this game I'm playing right now that I'm just using for footage in this video. But even then, I force myself to play it so I'm just not using random shit as the backgrounds. Like, I remember people here would constantly lose their minds when I used AI backgrounds, so I switched to using gameplay instead.
They straight up tell people that nothing matters except for how you were born, and they have mantras like, never get up.
Bro, it's Jeremy Meeks who's saying that. Jeremy Meeks knows what he's talking about, bro. The never get up thing is from Jeremy Meeks.
Don't ever get up.
And I mean, he knows what he's talking about too. He made it out of the hood and he's a famous philosopher. Don't question Jeremy Meeks.
Which tells people to not try to change what they can. Don't go to the gym, don't work on your appearance, don't try to get a good job, don't work on your social skills. I mean, you're taking a bunch of depressed people, telling them that everything is doomed, and following that with don't try to improve your life.
Dude, no one has ever said any of that. Stop strawmanning. In fact, I actually began working on my appearance in a healthy manner after discovering the black pill. Like, stuff that actually works. Like, none of this gym cell cope. And that's another thing. I used to go to the gym like crazy in high school. Ran like 70 miles a week in my senior year. Got nowhere. Nowhere at all. Physically, I was in the best shape of my life. Didn't matter. Got me nowhere. And I wish I spent more of that time actually leaning out my face, using different products that actually made a difference, instead of wasting it on trying to build my SCP-096 physique. And if you're wondering, I still go to the gym now. I actually do agree with Rehab on how the only reason why people go to the gym is for women. I mean, I'm more afraid that I'm actually gonna die from all the slop I have to eat in college to survive. I was skinny as a kid, but I'm afraid I'm gonna end up on the fat side. So that's why I go to the gym. Not for women, not to impress other people, but just to be healthy.
Like, average to ugly men have like run the world for the past like 3,000 years. The rulers of countries, of civilizations, the greatest artists, thinkers, thought leaders in the world have been like 5'8", kind of quote-unquote fugly guys.
Yes, but I'm pretty sure Tinder wasn't a thing when Alexander the Great was out conquering territory. The main reason why there's such a dating epidemic now is because women don't need men for money and they can just order a chat off the internet within seconds. Like, if I knew shit was gonna get this hard into adulthood, I would have immediately LTR'd the land whales who liked me in high school. Like, shit, dude, I was coping earlier when I said I didn't miss them. I'm losing it. I would probably take a girl uglier than them now. It's so brutal, man.
As for King Nobody, outside of the weight, it seems like most of his problem is that he's socially awkward, but you can fix that. I've also watched enough of his content to know that he was a former alcoholic. Imagine where he would be if he had gotten into the black pill. He'd still be drunk every day or worse.
That's not really the case at all. The black pill has shown me that I need to take care of my looks above all else. In fact, I actually drink less than most people I know, and I take care of my body to the best of my ability, because I know the only thing that matters to other people is the way I look. I agree that there are some defeatists out there who use this philosophy in a negative mindset, but that's because they've basically tried everything and gotten rejected. There's only so much you can do before you realize you gotta throw in the towel, and for me personally, that day hasn't come yet.
Here's a guy impressing women that I'm sure that Rehab Room would say is not attractive, nor is he tall, as he's almost the same height as Emiru, who is 5'3".
Can I have both of your hands for this strip?
Yes.
A little bit closer, like right here.
Oh my, yes.
As you can see, this is a Sharpie.
Uh-huh.
So, like I said, this is a Sharpie, and Sharpies don't tend to erase that well when you draw something on your hand.
Yeah.
But regardless, I'm gonna draw a little heart mark, just like this.
Cute.
Now, like I said, although Sharpies don't erase well, they can actually transfer, so I can just get rid of it just like that, and now it's actually inside my hand. But if I flick it right inside yours, you can slowly feel the heart being drawn. And if you
What?
flip it over,
What? What? What?
yeah.
Wait, that was so cool. What? That was really amazing.
Bro, this is literally just jester maxing. Anyone can just entertain women, but do you really think he smashed her later that night? Like, this is another common normie fallacy where they just assume that simply talking to women and eliciting some positive reaction from them means anything at all. It really doesn't.
I'll wait for one of the 5 counter arguments that black pillars seem to exclusively use.
Giving DBDR solid, good, genuine advice is as effective as trying to teach your dog to speak English. It'll usually just result with him thinking you're either A, a gaslighting normie, B, coping, C, someone who hasn't watched enough of his videos and wouldn't understand, D, a boomer who doesn't understand current times, or E, Chad Stacy that could never understand.
Okay, yeah, that was pretty accurate. I'll give him that. But partially it's because it's true.
He does seem to genuinely be trying to make his channel successful and puts a decent amount of work in, and his viewership is really high for a channel with only 20,000 subscribers. With that into consideration, I will say that if Rehab is trying to help people, then this is not the way to go about it. It's one thing to tell a relatable personal story or expose a grifter.
I mean, I do agree. The main reason why people like this content is because it really is that relatable. Like in my last video, people got mad at me for saying all the DBDR clones, myself included, were just repeating the same stuff. And while I do stand by that, the main reason why people love black-pilled content is because it's just so accepting. Instead of constantly being blamed for everything you do, it feels good to voice that blame onto something else. Whether this is a good or bad thing is up to you. I personally don't think it's all genetics and luck, but I do agree that it's mainly down to those two things. And that's actually made me more content in life. I no longer blame myself for everything. I realize that some things are just out of my control, so I focus on what I can control. I went to the gym a few days ago, and I remember just looking at myself in the mirror. I don't know what it is about gym mirrors, but I actually look worse in those than I do in my regular mirrors or even school bathroom mirrors. I remember getting somewhat disappointed by my looks, wondering if I didn't do my basic softmaxes right, and then I turn over and see like an actual Giga Chad next to me. I realized I can't ever achieve that face no matter what I do. It isn't really my fault that I was born with certain types of eyes or a messed up nose, so I actually left the gym feeling somewhat at peace that day.
Since we're talking about influencing others, I would highly recommend reading this chapter of Robert Cialdini's book that talks about how admitting to and apologizing for mistakes actually makes people trust you more.
This is the classic blue-pilled cope of just reading some corny feel-good book that says a whole lot of nothing. Now, I'm not saying don't read anything at all and be closed-minded, but these corny self-help books only lead to a rabbit hole of copium. You're never going to find that solution you're looking for within the final chapter of these books. You're just going to buy another useless feel-good book and learn nothing.
Some people lose their hair at 19. Some guys grow out to be 5'1". Some people have bad facial features. But the good news is that many unfortunate things people were born with can be fixed by modern technology, and that technology is always getting better.
Okay, I'm still waiting for my Indian to white surgery using this modern technology you're talking about.
It's a lot better to be ugly in a luxury car than it is to be ugly in a shitter car that's 10 seconds away from breaking down. So fight to get a good job. It's a lot better to be ugly with friends than it is to be ugly without friends.
Dude, he literally said that in one of his videos called How to Find Motivation.
But it is just so hard not to lose motivation and drop out of college. When you are socially isolated, everything just seems so draining. Everything is just so depressing. And I get it, man, because I've been there myself. The answer is sometimes you gotta get used to loneliness, because the alternative is worse unless you have loaded enabler parents.
Everyone knows that being broke is worse than being rich no matter what you look like. I mean, overall, I don't have much else to add. Overall, I find it funny that Think reacted to a bunch of Rehab's videos, except the one featuring himself. Maybe it was by accident, or more likely than not, that video hurt his feelings too badly. But like Kanye West once said,
I guess we'll never know.
This is a certified PSL classic.